I'm Christopher Sean. We're here. Everybody has a story. I'm here with Brin Scott, and we're here to promote the AidsWalk. Now, Brin is a director here, director of programs here at TERROS. And how you doing today, Brin?
I'm very good, thank you.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about TERROS?
TERROS has been around since 1969, and we started out as a grassroots organization, actually, where we were rescuing our brothers and sisters where they were needing to detox or on the streets. And we've grown since then to become a behavioral health organization, and just recently, we're now classified as integrative health because we provide medical as well as behavioral health needs, and of course, our Together programs, which is HIV and STI prevention.
That's awesome. So, Brin, how long has your department been doing AIDS testing and education?
We've been providing free HIV testing since 1987. We started out with our detox services, and we realized that some of our individuals had a lot more going on. And then we were supported by the state to provide free HIV testing. But not only through the state, even our own agency, because we weren't, obviously in 87 we were all set up differently, and HIV and AIDS was newer to us. So we were very well supported with our former CEO and of course the administrative team and our board to provide free HIV testing since 87.
So kind of take me on a journey, like from AIDS in 87 to now, like kind of some trends, maybe you see some good things, some bad things. Can you touch more on that?
Well, we know a lot more. I think the part that we've evolved in our understanding and knowledge relates to two messages. We can either talk about the prevention of HIV and AIDS and how you need to get tested and how people want to avoid getting infected. However, we send a mixed message by that same point when we say, well, once you've got HIV, don't worry about it because there's medications, we've got advanced treatment and care. So as long as you're set up and working with your doctor, you can get effective treatment to prolong your health. And in fact, we know that people that are HIV positive are less likely to die of HIV and AIDS, more likely to die of NCDs, which are non-communicable diseases. So we have an influx of whatever message you as an individual would want to hear versus what we're also trying to get out there.
That's awesome. And so how long have you guys been a part of the AidsWalk?
Since its inception, there was a gap in time from 2003 to 2008. But TERROS, I've been here since 96. And I've always been a part of it then. I've been the director of our department since 2006, and we've been there. I was actually one of the team members that helped bring the AidsWalk back when we lost it for the 5 years, and so we've been a part of it ever since its inception.
That's awesome. So give me some stats on HIV or here in the Valley. Is it do you feel like it's declining since you guys been here, or how do you feel about the way it's going?
Sadly, no, it's not declining. If we look at I'll first start to say Arizona is not a protected state, meaning that we don't have the numbers that Los Angeles and San Francisco have for California, New York has, Puerto Rico has, Atlanta. So we're not a protective state, but we're still a recognized state. And part of that is the support we have through the state that collects all the data and information that we all provide throughout. 75% of our infection rates are in Maricopa County, followed by Tucson, which is Pima County, and some of the Navajo communities around. Sadly, when the funds are diminishing, they also diminish within our neighboring counties. So for us, we're very fortunate because it doesn't change things for Maricopa County other than the dollars get smaller. But sadly, the rural areas now have to come into either Phoenix or in this case Tucson for whatever services they would have. When we look at demographics, I think when we look at statistics to begin with, we can look at all kinds of disparities, depending on how you want to look at a disparity. But when we look at the demographics, sadly, 55% of our new infection rates are still young people under the age of 30, which is astounding to us because they were born in this epidemic since we started recognizing HIV since 1981. So how they're not getting the message, or how they're receiving the information and message is something we constantly struggle on, because we want to stay fresh, want to keep it real. We want to put like with like, especially when we talk about our different communities. Even though it's recognized that 14% of the nation is made up of Black African Americans, 50% of the infection rate is in the Black community. However, you can look at that in a different perspective. With the minimal population, or not as large of a population, let's say, it's still a value that we still need to make sure that we're not leaving any of our brothers and sisters out, whatever their color is, because after them is our Latino community. And so we always have to make sure that not only are we speaking to the age demographics, we're also speaking to the cultural demographics as well.
Right. So tell me a little bit about like I know you go in the field and you educate. Is there someone, or you can tell me a little bit, walk me through going out in the field and things that you do to educate?
Well, I actually have one of my staff that is available that can actually talk to you about that. Okay. Angel Gonzalez.
Angel Gonzalez, all right. So I'm here with Angel Gonzalez, who is a behavioral health field specialist. He may correct me on that. I know we went over the name a couple times. How you doing today, Angel?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you, Christopher?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm glad to be here working with you guys, trying to get the word out on the AIDS Walk.
And certainly feel the same way. We thank you for choosing TERROS as an opportunity to carry this message out.
Well, I love what you do. Hey, so do you think you could kind of walk me through what you do, a typical day like out in the field?
Okay, sure. First of all, I'd like to say that we reach out to a variety of populations, okay? We go out to the Hispanic population, we reach out to the Black African American population, the Native American population. Most of our the populations that we work with, of course, are high risk, okay? And so a typical day for me is I come into work and I have a schedule, and I'm usually going either to do some education or to do some testing, or a little bit of both. I can do an hour education and then I can test afterwards. And the education consists of information concerning prevention as well as reduction of risk to that particular group of people. And it entails talking about what HIV is, how you can contract it or pass it on to someone, the variety of ways which people are getting infected in regards to their sexual habits or their drug use or their occupational hazards. There's some people who are doctors and nurses or in the field where they work with the public, and there's a risk there. They're working with blood products. We also show them how to prevent the possibility of getting infected or transmitting the infection to someone by the use of barriers and the use of protective products that are out on the market that would prevent them from contracting HIV. And then as far as testing, we have a rapid test, which we do in a matter of 15 minutes.
Wow.
It's a little finger prick. We take a little drop of blood from the finger, put it in a solution in a test kit, and it tells us within 10 to 15 minutes whether that person is positive or not.
Okay. So now with the test, like you say, the 15-minute test, is that like as far as a test? Because I've heard things to where it's like, okay, it takes a while. It could take a while for HIV to show up. So is the test? Is it like you have it or you don't in those 15 minutes, or do you still tell them, okay, get tested 6 months from now again too, or is that, or because I haven't kept up with the testing, so.
Right. There has been a variety of tests, and there are a variety of tests out there. The one that we use is called a rapid test, and the parameters for being able to detect whether a person is HIV or not are, there's a window period. If that person has engaged in any activity or any kind of risky activity that might have put them in a position to have contracted the infection, within a 10-day period we would be unable to tell, simply because the body hasn't had enough time to produce antibodies. Okay, so a person in that particular case, we would test them and find out whether they were positive or negative, but also recommend that they come back and test within that 3-month window.
Okay.
Because that's the time that it would take the body to really produce the antibody. Because our test looks for antibodies, it doesn't look for virus.
Okay. What are some of the responses you get? Do you find people are kind of shocked and real ignorant about what's going on, or seeming like they don't care? Like, how do you feel about maybe some of the responses to you when you're out in the field?
Well, we do, while we're testing and while we're educating people, we do have feedback from people. And we kind of assess where they're at so that we can develop a safety plan for them after the test. After we find out whether they're positive or negative. Of course, if they're positive, it's a whole different area we have to go into. But if they're negative, we develop a safety plan for them. What we hear during that discussion is it varies. It varies with the type of person, cultural, what their cultural differences are, what their racial differences are, what their sexual differences are. A lot of people come in and are using the test as a prevention measure as opposed to using the test as a means of reinforcing in their minds and in their behaviors, prevention and risk reduction. But we hear so many different stories from so many different people that we could go on for an hour.
I know that's right. Well, Angel, I definitely want to thank you for, sitting down and interviewing us. And I got a message. Look, all you young people out there, like Brin said, that, you guys are the youth is contracting this more, under 30, around that age group. Is that right, Brin? And so, come on now, don't be in the club thinking you could tell based off of somebody looked or what they look like. You can go anywhere from a bodybuilder to a drug addict. It doesn't really matter who the person is. Anybody can have HIV. So please protect yourself, stay safe, come support us down here at the AIDS Walk. Anybody that you guys want to give thanks to or, give a shout out to for helping out with TERROS and just the AIDS Walk, just go ahead. I'm going to give you that opportunity now.
Well, we're very fortunate because Aunt Rita's is actually the umbrella organization that hosts the AIDS Walk.
Okay.
And so if anything, they're a 3-member team that is actually on staff that help coordinate and organize this. So our goal this year is to raise $500,000. There's 18 benefiting agencies, and we're obviously one of them. And I think more than anything, it's not just about raising the money, it's about bringing the community together. Because last year was the very first year we saw all kinds of races and nationalities. But we also can't forget the pets, because you can actually raise money under your dog, and you can bring your dog. They'll all be getting a bandana that matches. They get a bandana to walk, and you see a sea of the dogs. And I tell you, kid you not, the highlight of the walk are all the dogs. And then last year we introduced virtual pets. So if you have a fish, a llama, an animal of any kind, you can actually raise money under them. They can't walk, but you can raise money under them.
Right.
So, but Aunt Rita's is the host agency for this, and they do a phenomenal job.
That's awesome. So guys, one thing that we do at the end of every interview is we like you to look into the camera, just let everybody know that everybody has a story. So do you want to
Everybody has a story.
What's yours?
Everybody has a story.
Heard it here first, and we out.